All right, welcome back. This week is February 9th through 15th. This is my second week in February at a $50 budget. Overall, you could say it's week 7 for my general pantry challenge and small grocery budget. So we're gonna jump right into it. And let me just tell you, I loved the $50 budget this week, and last week it has been a game changer. So let's jump into it with some chips. Alrighty, we are going to start off with some tortilla chips. I got these for $2.34. I love doing rice and like chip bowls. It's what I enjoy. I like a taco night. I like nachos. I like having these kind of chips in the house. Okay, it's just a go-to for me. I spent $1.42 on bread. It's just nice to have bread in the house. Now, of course, I could work on making it homemade, but I'm just not quite there yet. So for $1.42, we're going to go ahead and buy it from the store. I got some elbow pasta. This was 98 cents. And the reason I got this is I am out of it completely. And also my dairy-free child, I make them like homemade mac and cheese. So anyway, got this for my kiddo and basically, yeah, just to make them happy. So, all right, so yesterday was Sunday and we made spaghetti. So I used up the last of my like pasta sauce. Now I use the same like marinara, pasta sauce, whatever for pizza and for pasta. I don't buy a bunch of different kinds. It is what it is, and it works for everything. This pasta sauce was $1.67, and I need it because we are gonna wanna have like pizza this week. So needed to replenish on that. We are completely out. On to some fresh produce. I got 3 bananas, and these were 55 cents. I cannot stress enough, if you are on a tight budget, low income, whatever your situation is, bananas are always a go-to. All right, just my opinion. Another fresh item I got was a cucumber, and no, they didn't have any that weren't wrapped in plastic. Definitely would have got one that's not wrapped. I couldn't find like the old classic, more like a thick cucumber that's a little shorter. I don't know, the store I was at just didn't have what I was used to. So this was 96 cents, and again, it's for my kiddos to enjoy. Another item I got is a 3-pound bag of yellow potatoes, and this was $2.58. I plan on doing potato soup this week. So, nice bag of yellow potatoes. Now we are going to get into some of my proteins. So this is like a pork tenderloin, like the long style pork tenderloin filet, whatever you want to call it, but it is a little over 1.5 pounds. It was like $3.78 per pound, and the actual total of this item is $6.09. Okay, so this is one of my proteins for the week. I got a pound of sausage. This was $3.57. This is probably going to be a breakfast type dish. It might not be this week, but it actually might be Sunday or Monday. So that's the thing. I don't always grocery shop on Sundays. I a lot of times will do Mondays or even Tuesdays. So when I plan my week, I got to get through Sunday and Monday as well. Now I know some people might make their week start on Tuesday and like they go Tuesday to Tuesday. I still like the Sunday to Sunday format, but I have to plan ahead. So this actually might be Sunday or Monday of next week. Okay, this is 1 pound of beef. It costs $4.64, and it is the 73% lean. Okay, so I don't buy the best type of beef as far as the lean versus fat, but I did find the cheapest that I could buy in a single pound. Here's one thing that's really driving me crazy with the pantry challenge. I like buying in bulk. And some items, it matters more than others. Like for example, elbow pasta, the 2-pound box was barely any difference on price. It really didn't matter that much. However, on beef, if you buy a roll that's 3 pounds or 5 pounds or even 10 pounds, the price per pound comes down significantly. So this irks me. Okay, this actually really bothers me to buy it in a single pound, but because I'm on this tight budget, I can't do it. Now in the future, what I would love to do, kind of like what I did last week with the hamburgers, I bought double and put some in the freezer. That's what I want to get back to. It's like, okay, I buy 3 pounds of the beef, use 1 this week, put 2 in the freezer. I like that system, but right now I'm still a little too tight on the budget to do that, or not managing my money well enough to do that, I could say. So that's driving me crazy. It really irks me to look at all the beef and see that I'm not getting the best price. Okay, that's where buying in bulk can be a good thing. Next, we have some chicken breasts. I do like to keep them sort of in plastic. You know how chicken gets. This was $10.55. So this was my most expensive item. It looks like it is 5 chicken breasts, and the price per pound was $3.95. Okay, so we're under $4 a pound, which isn't bad for protein. So this is what I got, 5 chicken breasts. And again, this might be used next week. Some of this might get cooked up and put in the freezer. It might get just put in the freezer as chicken breasts. I'll see what I do. I might even like not butterfly them, but like cut them in half. We'll see. Okay, so this might be a future item where I, again, am thanking myself. All right, so I bought yogurt this week and I may have messed up on this. I'm not exactly sure. I am going to try to make yogurt, but we just ran out of yogurt from last week. So I was like, I'll buy a big tub. I'm only going to use a little bit of it and make the yogurt, but we'll still have this. And that way I can sort of like taste test it, make sure it's coming out well. The only thing I'm concerned about is I read the directions for it and it said to make sure that it contains like live, active yogurt cultures, which it says it does, but then I forgot the other directions were that it shouldn't be flavored, and this is vanilla. So I don't know if that's gonna mess me up. I'm still gonna try it. Let me know in the comments though, is it gonna mess me up? And what's your advice? Have you ever made homemade yogurt? Okay, so we are gonna give it a try. This was $2.76. Okay, so this week, for the first time, I actually bought milk. We don't do a lot of milk in this house, but I got a gallon of whole milk to try to make that yogurt. This whole gallon of milk was $2.52. So, just for comparison, I did pay more for this than I did for this. So, it would be more affordable if I could make the yogurt, but we'll see. I also might waste $2.50 trying to do something and I fail at it. So, we'll see. Is it worth the time? Is it worth the effort? I don't know. And finally, my last item is a dozen eggs. All right, so we got a dozen eggs. They were, go in the comments and guess how much I paid for eggs. You don't know where I live. How much do you think I paid? Okay, and then come right back to the video. I paid $5.46 for a dozen eggs, okay? I haven't bought eggs in a long time. I actually had 3 last week, but I used 2 of them just over the weekend here. We made elephant ears as like a fun snack activity. So I used 2 eggs. So I am down to 1 egg in my fridge and now I'll have a fresh dozen. I want to do kind of like the yogurt. I want to do a little bit of baking and a little bit of trying to make snacks at home. So I do need to have some eggs on hand. I know I need to look more into egg replacements, but part of that's just, it's taking the time to get familiar with things and learn about them. I resist that a little bit. Until I'm ready to do something, I won't do it. So for now, I did buy the eggs. And that's that. Now I do, in some situations, use applesauce as an egg replacement. It depends on what you're making, what you're working with. And actually, I did not buy applesauce this week. We have a little bit left, but my dad has a few in his pantry and they're like the big ones. And he said, hey, I've bought too many of these ahead, so grab one. So I'm actually gonna go to his house this week, visit with him. And while I'm there, I'm gonna grab a free applesauce. So I don't know if that counts or not, but it helps when you're on a tight budget. So I'm gonna get that separately this week and that's totally fine. Now let's get back to the shopping list though. So the total items I got, 14 items. It keeps working out that way. So I got 14 items and it cost me $46.09. So I actually thought I was closer to the 50 this week. There is something I had on my list as a maybe that I didn't get and I wish I would have, but I really thought I was at like $49 with tax. I thought I was like close. So we'll see. I might do another grocery shop like I keep doing, but it's just kind of how it is and how it's going. I don't want to take too many items to the register and be like, hey, take that off. Or, you know, I don't want to do that. So I'm doing my best to do my mental math as I'm shopping and I'm running on my calculator. But still, some things get taxed, some things don't. You know, like eggs and milk and bread, I don't think get taxed. I wasn't factoring that in as I was shopping. All right, and now I want to take you into my second grocery shop. So I ran to the store and just got some white, like meltable chocolate. I got this for the zebra cakes. This chocolate cost $4.18. And then along with that, I did want some like typical brown milk chocolate to do like the little stripes on the zebra cakes. I actually found a couple of those in our little candy cabinet, so I didn't have to purchase that, thank goodness. I made some zebra cakes this week. I will link that in the description once I have that video complete on making homemade zebra cakes. It was definitely an interesting experience. Okay, so what were my numbers for this week? Last week, we carried over $1.88. Therefore, we started out the week with $51.88. Then our first grocery shop was $46.09. Our second grocery shop for the white chocolate was $4.18. And that means we ended the week with $1.61. So that is what we will be carrying over into the third week of February. Now, I do want to mention that if at any point you want to join the Pantry Challenge, I've got a really simple PDF. You can print it off. It's free, and it's just basically a calendar, and it's a grocery shopping list, and it's a money tracker all in one. So first off, it starts out blank with no dates on it. You can add in the dates yourself. So if you're starting this in February or March, it doesn't matter. Then you can add in your dollar amounts, what you started the week off with, what you spent, and then of course what you end the week with, and then go ahead and roll that over into the next week. So track your money and your expenses. Then at the bottom, there is a grocery shopping section. There's a must-have, and then there's a more of like optional. And the must-haves are obviously what you need for that week to make your meals. Optional are things that would be nice if there's still money and room in the budget. You can cross things off as you get them and add new things on continuously for the month. And then up in the top part where it's that calendar, you can track your money, of course, but you can also write down your meal plan for the week. So this can be an all-in-one grocery budget and grocery shopping and grocery list tracker. Put it on your fridge, easy peasy. If you want it, give me your email and I will send it right over to you. That link will be in the description. Let's go ahead and jump into our week of meals. With Sunday was spaghetti, did noodles, I did some sausage from the freezer, cooked that up. We did garlic knots, salad, and instant mashed potatoes. Monday, we did tacos, and I'm sorry, but I forgot to record. Tuesday was pizza. This is the pizza that I made for myself. I forgot to film my husband's pizza. Again, sorry about that. Wednesday was pork nachos. My husband had plans this night, so I was on my own with the kids, and this sounded good to me. I got to pick what I wanted for the night. Thursday, we did hamburgers. I made some homemade french fries with that. Friday is going to be potato soup. Friday does happen to be Valentine's Day. We will not be going out and just staying in instead. And then Saturday is going to be a pork tenderloin. Alrighty, so that is the week. I do have 2 meats sort of like left over to roll into next week, and that is the sausage that I bought this week and the chicken breast. So those are going to turn into meals early next week. And when it comes to meat, I did buy a lot of meat this week. My budget went up to $50, and I spent about $25 of it on meat, plus an additional $5 on eggs. So you could say I spent $30 on just protein. This, of course, is great. However, one thing we're greatly lacking is snackies and snack food. So that is why this week and even last weekend, I made elf ears over last weekend. During this week, I made zebra cakes, homemade. I made homemade yogurt. Didn't turn out the best. That video will get linked as well once it's ready. And I made sourdough. So look for links on some of those. And yeah, so definitely trying to like make some homemade snackies because again, that budget is still tight, realistically. It really is. So doing what we can and trying to get creative in the kitchen. A couple of things that I would say I'm struggling with is kind of like I touched on snacks. It is hard not to have snacks in the house, whether healthy, unhealthy, whatever you want to say. Just we feel like we don't have food. And sometimes you have ingredients, but you got to think of like, what can I make with these ingredients? So that can be a challenge. And I think like a mindset change. You know how people, I feel like there was a trend a while back of like saying you came from an ingredient home. I don't want to be a snacky home necessarily. I don't have Cheez-Its and Gushers and fruit roll-ups in my pantry, but it is finding that balance of having some snacks that are pre-made, but also trying to make things homemade when you can. So finding that balance, and we've been a little bit more of an ingredient home, and that's been a little bit of a struggle and a challenge to like adapt to. The other thing that it's a struggle for me is the bulk shopping and wanting to bulk shop. I believe I mentioned it before, but buying beef this week. 1 pound of beef is not as good of a price as 3 pounds or 5 pounds or 10 pounds. And that bothers me. It is a struggle for me. And I'd like to get to that point where when meat is on sale, I can buy more of it and doing things like that. Maybe 1 week I only get a small package of chicken breast, but I get a large package of ground beef. And then the next week I buy a large package of chicken and a small amount of sausage, and just sort of bulk shopping, but still within a budget and navigating that and figuring that out. Because I definitely want to get good deals on my food. All right, so that is how this week went. I will see you in the next one. Have a great day.